Hey there, fellow fantasy football freaks. Yeah, I know, I'm back with a faceless version of the show this time, for the same reasons why this is a day late. Technical issues, computer limitations, being a dad, and the fact that the doctor says I actually need to get some sleep once in a while. Pesky-ass doctors, what do they know? Oh yeah, I had a full completed episode ready for editing Sunday morning until the news of Irv Smith's injury came out. He was like the main focal point for my episode. Love this guy this year, still do, and I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, had to kind of do some rewrites and that sort of thing. But we're going to move on with the show anyway. The tight end edition of the 2021 Draft Kit Series. Just the tight ends. Kicker and defense will be moved to Wednesday's show along with an update of my overall top 200. This is the last week and a half before real football starts. Many people have already drafted, but I know there's a lot of us with drafts up until opening day and beyond. But I got you covered all week. Subscribe and ring the bell and you'll be notified when new content drops. And if you like what you see, hit that thumbs up. Anyway, enough crap. Here are the top 3 undervalued tight ends to target in your draft. Alright, let's start off with Anthony Firkser, Tennessee Titans. Last season, Firkser was showing some promise, but Jonnu Smith stood in the way of consistent fantasy production. But with Jonnu shipped out to the Pats, Firkser is the top guy at tight end for the Titans. The Titans entered the 2021 season with the 3rd most vacated targets and the most vacated targets inside the 10, both at around 50%. And as we know, inside the 10, in the red zone, that's where the tight ends rule. Yeah, I know Julio's going to pick up some of those targets, but I'd have to say a lot of them, especially inside the 10, are going to go to Firkser. In 2020, the Titans tied with the Browns for percentage of plays utilizing the tight end. Firkser will essentially be used as a slot receiver, eating up all of those targets. At an ADP of 216, tight end 22, I guarantee he outplays his ADP this year. He's going undrafted in most leagues, so you can get him as a late round flyer, maybe as a second tight end to hold a fort while Irv Smith recovers, if you pick him up too. Either way you slice it, Firkser is a highly undervalued tight end who's worth picking up. Next up, Jonnu Smith, New England Patriots. Yeah, I was just talking about Jonnu Smith leaving Tennessee for New England and how that could create a hot tight end commodity in Firkser. But Jonnu will benefit from the move as well. Some are worried about the simultaneous addition of Hunter Henry, but I think the Pats are trying to recreate some of that old Gronk Hernandez action, and Jonnu's production will be killer. Yeah, I know, bad pun. The dude is an athletic freak and might be the best pass catcher that the Patriots have. Last season, Jonnu had the 2nd highest efficiency rate among tight ends, but was terribly underutilized. Coach Belichick will make sure that Jonnu gets plenty of work and all the targets he needs to turn 10 yards per target into fantasy points by the bundles. Look for Jonnu to have his best season yet and solidify himself as a true tight end 1 in fantasy. With an ADP of 131, the 14th among tight ends, he's sure to play above his ADP this season. And third and finally, Logan Thomas, Washington Football Team. Yeah, I know he's being drafted in the top 10 tight ends, but on average, he's only the 8th highest drafted tight end. And yet, I think that he's got top 5 potential. I didn't believe the hype and found Thomas hard to predict for fantasy last year. But by the end of the season, he became a consistent tight end. But this year, they've got a stronger overall offense. Even coming off a semi-breakout season, Coach Rivera seems to think there's more room to grow, anticipating, quote, another big step for Thomas. And the coaches have been working with Logan to help make sure that he takes that next step. Dude just got paid, but I think he'll indeed take the next step in becoming an elite tight end. He's going in the 8th or 9th round, and I think he's an absolute steal at that spot. Well, there's my 3 undervalued tight ends. How about now some deep dives? How about yeah? Let's start off with Cole Kmet of the Bears. Now, he got a lot of buzz the second half of last season and started getting some attention from fantasy managers and his QB alike. With less mouths to feed there in Chicago, Kmet could be a quiet weapon this season. Dalton won't be the starter for long, and we all know that a tight end is a rookie QB's best friend. Kmet could be that security blanket for Fields once he takes over the offense. Definitely worth a stash. Next up, Gerald Everett, Seattle Seahawks. Now, he spent a lot of time with his QB Russell Wilson this offseason. Wilson even brought him in to his mini pre-practice prayer circle. But the thing is, when your QB lets you into his inner circle, even if it's a prayer circle, that's a good sign. Wilson went on to say that he's got a lot of confidence in Everett, commenting on how easily he gets open. That's an even better sign. Gerald Everett has a talent, but was wasted as the tight end 2 on a team that use their tight ends as often as Justin Bieber uses a razor. The former Ram will get a chance to shine in the Seahawks' high-powered offense and have his best season yet. Could be knocking on the door of tight end 1 numbers before you know it. And my double deep danger dive is Donald Parham Jr. of the Chargers. So last season, Parham only had 10 receptions, but they went for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns. Holy efficiency, Batman. All that stood in his way of production was Hunter Henry. But now Henry's on the Pats, and Parham's only competition now is Howard Stern's show Beetlejuice lookalike Jared Cook. Cook is still on my shit list, and I doubt Coach Staley's going to start this waste of a roster spot, this mediocre, aging tight end. Now's the time to see what they have in Parham. He's more like a wide receiver in a tight end body, but with some good coaching, that can be a wonderful thing. He's got the athleticism, hands, and speed. Ran a 4.64 40, standing at 6'8". Dude is a monster and a huge red zone target. He may even emerge there as the number 2 pass catcher behind Keenan Allen. Just watch. So those were my steals, sleepers, and deep dives. But now, without any further ado, my top 30 tight ends to draft this season. Not going to talk about everyone, just a few important tidbits about some of the guys here. Kelsey is the obvious top choice, but then 2 and 3 seem to flip-flop depending on whose rankings you're looking at. I think Kittle's injury and subsequent absence last season has people forgetting that this guy puts up Kelsey-like numbers. And with Brandon Ayuk banged up, dude is gonna feast in San Fran. Still love Wallow the Baller though. I'm not as high on TJ Hawkinson as most analysts. It's just that every time I see Jared Goff play quarterback, I'm reminded of a flaming bag of garbage, and that's gonna hurt Hawkinson's potential. Noah Fant is talented, but he's got a lot of hungry pass catchers to contend with. Could be a feast or famine kind of year for Fant. Let's take a look at the next set. Matt Stafford might finally make Tyler Higbee fantasy relevant, if both of them stay healthy. Irv Smith is said to be missing the beginning of the season with the meniscus surgery he's getting. The timetable seems to be 2 to 4 weeks. With the start of the season just shy of 2 weeks away, it might be week 2 or more likely week 3 that we see Irv Smith start for the Vikings. He's still worth a pickup, but of course you need to spend a roster spot on a second tight end. Might be worth it though. As soon as he's healthy, this kid may be looking at a breakthrough kind of season. Baby Gronk, Pat Freiermuth, is an interesting prospect. I think he's going to be a thing in the NFL. The question is, how quickly does that start? For some reason, I feel like Dawson Knox is going to be a thing this season. I heard somewhere in an interview that Josh Allen's been keeping Knox on his mind, and that Knox has been working hard securing catches. If he can eliminate the drops, he could be a solid tight end too, and bye-week filler or better. There you go, folks. Now you're covered on tight ends. I'll be back on Wednesday in the flesh to cover defenses and kickers, plus an update of my top 200 overall. If you haven't seen the other videos in my draft series, look near the top now and there should be some links popping up for those. Check them out, or don't, and get crushed in your draft. Thanks again for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you again on Wednesday. Keep checking out my videos in the Draft Kit series, and own your league's draft. Anyway, see you on Wednesday. Until then, I'm out. Peace.